Hi, I'm Milton Rendell, Milton Real News Friday, and bringing it to you from my new office here in the new Catalyst building in Junction Parade, Midland. And as you may observe behind, there's still a few things stacked up or whatever. Still unpacking, still trying to get things together. The fun of moving a business after 20 years. Anyway, enough of the whinging. Let's get on to the marketplace in itself. recent week, 883 sales according to the Real Estate Institute of West Australia. Stock levels sit at 10,693, so slightly up to where we were, but still at 1% less than a month ago. Rentals are now below 3,000, 2,945. Activity in rentals is still good. It varies from area to area. I'm now getting lots of questions about in terms of are rents on the increase, etc. Look, certain areas are, certain types of property are, but it will get down to the presentation of a property and supply demand in terms of rentals. In terms of sales, has been plenty of positive news now flying through the media. I think seen on a couple of stations the other night talking about 3 to 5% increases over the next 12 months. I think some areas may be better than that, and others will probably be the lower end of that. Once again, that'll get back to supply demand. It's a bit difficult to compare, say, a Subiaco to Coongamaya. They're very different suburbs. Demand is different, etc., and types of people, demographics. So you will get variation. So when they do make these statements, there's a pretty general statement. But once again, if you've got a unique property, let's say, for example, it's on the river in Guildford, the appreciation probably is quite strong. Where on the other hand, a rundown property down in the back streets of, say, Balga, probably not appreciating as much. Having said all that, the buyer activity overall has increased. No doubt people are taking advantage of the interest rates. They are incredibly low, and we all acknowledge that, and that is driving part of it. Our economy in itself, I think we're going to probably go through a few different side streets, if you like, over the next month or two. We've just got our first adjustment to JobKeeper, and I think that'll affect some small businesses more than others. Others have been accelerating under the JobKeeper scheme, and I congratulate the government on that, but it will come to an end in March, so we may see some variations again in our marketplace. Now, I feel over the next 6 months there could be a couple of little different interruptions. Now, I don't know whether they're going to be negative, positive or neutral, but I'm just going to highlight them just so that people don't get too carried away with talking about booms and all the rest of it. First interruption is obviously the JobKeeper as that changes, so that's going to be an interesting one. So first we've got our initial interruption with JobKeeper now that's come out of September. It's dropping. We'll see how that affects businesses. Next interruption will be the US elections. Now, people wonder why, but that will disrupt something. It'll disrupt the share market. It did last time when Trump came in. It went in quite an interesting direction. The US election will have some impact on the world economy. I don't think it'll hit us too directly, but I just think it's something. If it goes in a fairly positive direction, I think if we're moving in a positive direction, I think that may help accelerate that. Or it'll have a small pause up thereafter, but I think overall it won't impact things too badly. But I think it'll just interrupt us for a moment or two, or get our attention for a moment or two. You've got to remember that with fluctuations in our economies all the time and every day, share markets, etc. You don't have to follow the share market to see that. The next interruption, I think, thereafter will be probably the completion of JobKeeper. Now, this all gets back to the COVID situation. We all understand that. But I personally believe we are well ahead of where we expected to be in our economy in Western Australia and Australia-wide. I know Victoria's still fairly locked down, but speaking to people in Victoria, they are seeing some movement in prices, actually in a positive direction, which astounds me. But I think our Australian economy is looking in the right direction. So yes, things are moving certainly in a positive direction. I think the opportunity for sellers is there, better than it has been probably for the previous 3 years. So that's a positive. But I have had a couple of people say to me, "Oh, Milton, my property's not this and it's not that," or whatever. You've got to let go of yesterday and focus on what you're doing today. And today, and what I mean by that is you've got to focus on what your goal is. So, and I did bump into an old cricket buddy the other day, and he talks to me every year, and I said to him, one of the things you've got to focus on is understanding what your true goal is at the end of your transactions. Because I'll bring you an offer which is the right amount and at the right timing and all the rest, and you'll say no because you don't have an end goal. As a seller or even as a buyer, if you have an end goal, you'll be more clear in your negotiations and much more clearer in your decision making. So this is a good time between now and the end of the year. If you are thinking about moving, do all your homework. We're happy to help. Speak to your bank, etc. Finance broker. You can talk to our guys at Plus Loans. If you want to understand the structure of sales, obviously speak to myself or my team, and also how the settlement process through our Plus Your Settlements. I think we're going into a really interesting time. I think it is a far more positive time than we've had for some time. I think we've been very, very immune in West Australia, and we've been very, very fortunate. And I think that our economy will probably kick off quicker than anybody else. But don't be surprised as those sort of small variations. They won't be big ones, but you will find people who are going to focus on the negative for short periods of time whilst those things happen, and it may be sending you the wrong signals. Tighten up your focus on what your goals are and go for it from there. All the best, and if you're in the area, come down and check out our new office in the new Catalyst building in Junction Parade. We've still got some units available for lease. Fantastic complex, well worth a look. All the best. Check out realestateplus.com.au.